Act as if God has a great surprise for you. There is something powerful in the unseen, not because it is hidden, but because it is sacred. The greatest things God has for you are never shown before their time. He doesn't flash it in the sky or whisper it to the crowd. No, He conceals it in silence, wraps it in the ordinary, and waits to see, will you walk like it's already yours? Act as if God has a great surprise for you. Live today with the posture of expectancy, not desperation. You do not chase what is divine. You align with it. You prepare the space. You lift your head. You smile for no reason, because your spirit knows. You don't need proof. You are the proof. You are the one who walks with calm certainty in a world frantic for evidence. Others wait for a door to open. You move as if you've already walked through it. Take as if the conversation has already shifted in your favor. Dress as if you are already where you've dreamed of being. Think as though the ink has already dried on your victory. Why? Because the surprise isn't being created. It's being revealed. The moment you accept that, life starts to respond differently. People show up with offers. Doors crack open at odd hours. Peace replaces panic. And the surprise you once prayed for shows up like it was always yours. This isn't acting in pretense. It's acting in faith. And faith is not blind. It sees what others cannot see. It believes before the rain and dances before the music. So today I tell you this. Carry yourself like someone God is about to bless in a way they can't explain. Act like the thing you've wanted has already been scheduled. Smile like heaven is planning a moment that will leave you speechless, because it is. And when it happens, you won't be shocked. You'll just nod in quiet gratitude. You knew all along. You acted like it. You believed. And now it is so. True faith is not about hoping things will happen someday. It is the bold, quiet certainty that they already have. Hope waits, faith walks. Hope lingers at the door, knocking softly, wondering if it will be heard. But faith turns the handle, steps inside, and takes a seat, because it knows it belongs. To assume the end is not arrogance, it is alignment. It is the sacred agreement between you and the divine that what has been seen within must eventually be seen. When you truly believe something has already occurred in the unseen, your actions begin to mirror that belief. You stop searching for confirmation in the outer world. You stop asking for signs, needing validation, or requiring others to believe with you. You become still. You become settled. Because in your inner world, the outcome is not a possibility. It is a reality. Faith doesn't wait for everything to make sense. It doesn't ask the how, the when, or the through whom. It simply assumes that the thing desired is already finished, already fulfilled, already present in another dimension of experience. And this assumption changes everything. It shifts how you carry yourself, how you speak, how you move, how you respond. You stop reacting to delays as if they are denials. You stop fearing silence as if it means absence. You start living from the end, not for it. To assume the end is to enter into the feeling of the wish fulfilled and dwell there, no matter what appears to be happening on the outside. You carry the frequency of your desire. You wear it like a fragrance. You speak from it, think from it, and live from it, not toward it. And when you live from it, reality must bend to meet your conviction. It may not come how you thought or when you thought, but it must come because your assumption is the seed and your feeling is the water. The world may call this foolish, but the soul knows better. The soul remembers that all things are created twice, once in the imagination and again in form. So when you assume the end, you are not being unrealistic, you are being creative. You are cooperating with a higher law, one that doesn't depend on time or effort, but on consciousness. What you assume, you allow. What you assume, you embody. What you assume, you magnify. Think of a person deeply in love. They don't need to be told they are loved, they feel it. They live in the joy of it. Their actions reflect that inner conviction. They are not performing love, they are being it. Faith is the same. It is the love for what you have not yet seen but already know. It is the quiet trust in what God has already completed, even if your eyes have not yet caught up. Walk today as one who knows, not one who hopes or begs or bargains, but one who knows. Smile when there is no visible reason. Speak as if the answer has already arrived. Give thanks for what hasn't yet shown up, because in the spiritual realm it already exists. And in time, the physical will catch up to your faith. Do not let the absence of the outer thing disturb the presence of the inner reality. That is the test. That is the power. When you can remain unmoved, when you can hold the end within yourself and walk through this world as if it is already done, you are no longer living by sight, you are living by divine knowing. You are walking not in hope, but in holy certainty. And that, beloved, is true faith. Expectation is not a passive wish. It is an energetic force. It is the silent command your spirit gives to the universe. When you live in a state of expectation, you are not simply hoping that something good might happen. You are preparing for it, welcoming it, making room for it because you are already convinced of its arrival. You are not waiting with anxiety. You are waiting with assurance. You are not crossing your fingers. You are opening your hands. To expect the best is to live in alignment with the unseen rhythms of divine timing. It is to understand that what is meant for you is not being kept from you, but prepared for you. And the moment your inner atmosphere becomes a match for the miracle, it appears not as a shock, but as a natural unfolding. Because what you expect, you attract. What you expect, you create space for. What you expect, you meet halfway. Meditation sharpens your vision. It tunes your awareness. It allows you to notice things you would have otherwise missed. The opportunity others overlook, you see it. The connection that looks random to others, you recognize it as a divine thread. Why? Because you were looking for it. You were watching with spiritual eyes, and the universe will always show you what you are truly expecting to see. Most people live bracing for disappointment, guarding their hearts from hope. They tell themselves they are being realistic, but in truth, they are aligning with fear. They expect delays. They expect pain. They expect rejection, loss, or failure. And so life, in its quiet obedience to their inner vibration, responds accordingly. Not because it punishes, but because it reflects. It mirrors the signal you send out. But there is another way. You can expect favor, you can expect breakthroughs, you can walk into rooms believing that someone in there is already aligned to bless you. You can step into each day as though it carries a secret gift in its hands. And when you move like that, not arrogantly, but faithfully, you begin to pull unseen possibilities into visible form. Life begins to reveal more, not because it has changed, but because you have. You have opened the door. Expectation unlocks the door to the unknown. It does not demand to know the how. It does not try to control the method or the messenger. It simply assumes that whatever is coming is good, and it will find you. It will recognize you. It will meet you exactly where you are, dressed in the disguise of ordinary moments. To live in expectation is to speak as if the best is on its way. It is to prepare the table before the meal arrives. It is to get dressed for the opportunity that hasn't yet knocked. It is to water the soil before you see a single sprout. This isn't naivety, it is spiritual maturity. It is inner authority. It is trust not in what is seen, but in what is promised. You were never meant to walk through life anxious, desperate, or uncertain. You were meant to walk through life with the quiet confidence of one who knows they are guided, supported, and blessed. Expectation is your agreement with the divine that what you need is already set in motion, that while you cannot see it, something is shifting, something is aligning, something is drawing closer. You do not need to chase it. You only need to expect it. And expectation is not noisy. It doesn't have to announce itself. It simply stands, poised, still, unwavering. Because it knows that when the soul believes, the unknown becomes known, the invisible becomes visible, and the impossible becomes inevitable. So live, expecting the best, and watch how the best comes looking for you. The words you speak within yourself carry more power than the words you speak aloud. Your inner speech is the script by which your outer world performs. It is not what you say to others, but what you consistently say to yourself that becomes your truth. If you speak lack, life will echo it. If you speak abundance, even in silence, life will mirror it. The world is not responding to your outer voice. It is responding to the quiet, consistent tone of your inner dialogue. Every day, without realizing it, you are affirming something. You are either affirming what you want or what you fear. You are either agreeing with the life you are choosing or the one you are tolerating. And your results, your circumstances, your experiences, your relationships are simply following the pattern of your internal speech. The world outside bends to the story you are telling inside. When you speak to yourself as the one who is still waiting, still lacking, still needing, you remain tethered to that experience. You beg for what is already yours. You plead for what is already near. But when you speak as the one who has, as the one who is already living in the answered prayer, you change the entire tone of your being. You shift from asking to allowing, from chasing to attracting. To speak as the blessed is not to lie to yourself. It is to tell a deeper truth. It is to align with the spiritual reality even when the physical reality has not yet caught up. You speak not to describe what is, but to create what is becoming. You do not look at the current conditions and say, "This is who I am." You look at the truth you carry in your heart and say, "This is who I already am." And when your inner conversation changes, so does your atmosphere. Your energy shifts. You carry yourself differently. You start to feel different emotions, not because anything outside has changed, but because you have. You begin to align with what you have claimed, and slowly or suddenly your world shifts to match that claim. The mistake most people make is thinking that their speech must be reactive, that they must describe the world as it is. But your speech was never meant to react. It was meant to reveal. Speak to yourself as the person who already received the job, the healing, the love, the breakthrough. Not out of delusion, but out of divine imagination. Not to fake it, but to faithfully create it. When you say, "I am whole," you are not ignoring pain. You are affirming truth. When you say, "I am blessed," you are not denying the storm. You are declaring your identity through it. When you say, "Everything is working for me," you are not closing your eyes to difficulty. You are opening your spirit to possibility. And here is the mystery. Your world listens, your body listens, your emotions listen, your relationships listen. The same way a child responds to loving or harsh words, your life bends in the direction of your consistent inner tone. If you speak peace, you will start to feel it. If you speak favor, you will start to see it. If you speak from gratitude, even before the gift arrives, you will draw the gift faster. So guard your inner speech like a sacred river. Do not pollute it with doubt, fear, or anger. Let your self-talk reflect the miracle, not the mess. Let your internal language carry the sound of the fulfilled, not the forgotten. You are not a beggar in this life. You are not waiting at the gate of favor. You are the one who has been chosen, prepared, and appointed. Speak like it. And as your inner words rise to match the reality of your divine nature, your outer world will follow. because your inner speech was never just a whisper, it was always a command. What feels like delay is not denial, it is divine preparation. It is the quiet orchestration of a life that is being shaped behind the curtain, away from your sight, but never away from your destiny. The waiting you feel is not empty, it is pregnant with purpose. What you call nothing happening is actually everything happening, just not on the surface where your eyes can see. It is the unseen alignment of time, people, places, and moments, woven together so perfectly that when the surprise arrives, it will not only be right, it will be undeniable. You may feel forgotten, but you are not. You may feel still, but you are moving in the mind of God. And the movement of God is not always fast, but it is always exact. It is precise. It does not rush to meet your impatience, but it will not be late to fulfill your purpose. What is meant for you is being built in silence, so when it shows up, it speaks loudly, so clearly that even your doubts will bow to it. The divine timing does not ask for your understanding, it asks for your trust. And trust is tested in delay. Faith is refined in silence. The seed planted does not sprout overnight, but each day in the soil matters. Each moment of invisibility is part of the growth. And so is your waiting. The delay you face is not a punishment, it is a protection. It is a process. There are things being worked out in the background. The doors you thought should have opened didn't, for a reason. The relationships that ended to clear space. The opportunities that slipped through your fingers were not lost, they were rerouted. Because what is truly yours will never require force. What is truly yours is being prepared, and you are being prepared for it. The waiting season is your time to become the version of you that can hold the blessing without breaking under it. You are not just waiting for something. You are being shaped into someone who can handle the weight of the blessing with wisdom. Someone who doesn't just receive the surprise, but honors it. Someone who has depth, clarity, and strength, not from ease, but from endurance. And the delay is what gives birth to those qualities. It humbles you, deepens you, matures you. It teaches you to find peace without proof. It trains you to believe without seeing. It conditions your spirit to praise without evidence. And when you have learned how to rejoice in the unseen, you become magnetic to the seen. You draw the very thing you thought was far away, because your energy now matches it. Your readiness meets its arrival. There will come a moment when everything will make sense. The closed doors, the lonely nights, the long prayers, the silence. You will see the hand of God in it all. You will see how every no was really a not yet. You will look back and realize that the delay was not an absence, but an arrangement. And when the surprise comes, you will understand why it took the time it did. Because you'll see it wasn't just for you. It was being arranged for others too. For the world around you to witness, for the right connections to form, for the setting to be just right so that the blessing can not only show up, but shine. So do not curse the delay. Do not rush the process. Instead, lean into it. Embrace the silence. Grow in it. Speak from it. Let it mold you. Let it prepare you. Because what is coming will not need explanation. It will need only recognition. It will be so complete, so aligned, so divine that you will know it was worth the wait. And you will no longer call it a delay. You will call it destiny, right on time. Imagination is not a child's game or a fantasy to be outgrown. It is the womb of all that will ever come to be. Everything that has ever been created began first in the unseen realm of thought, vision, and inner belief. What you dare to imagine with clarity and conviction, you begin to breathe life into. You are not simply daydreaming when you see yourself healed, abundant, loved, or fulfilled. You are planting a seed in the sacred soil of creation, and with faith it will grow. To see the end from the beginning is the divine way. It is the way of creators, not reactors. It is the path of those who understand that circumstances do not dictate reality, consciousness does. If you can hold a picture in your mind with love and faith, it will find its way into your world, not through effort alone, but through alignment, not through struggle, but through surrender to the unseen truth that already is. The problem is, most people look at what is missing and call it truth. They look at the absence of money and say, I am broke. They look at the absence of love and say, I am alone. But that is only what the senses can perceive. The senses are not the final authority. They are limited to what has already manifested. But imagination taps into what is becoming. It reaches into the invisible and pulls it forward. When you live in the feeling of what's coming, you no longer fear what's missing, because in your world, nothing is missing. It is only waiting to be revealed. This is why you must protect your imagination like sacred ground. You must not fill it with worry, doubt, or worst-case scenarios. You must not rehearse pain when you could be rehearsing joy. You must not feed fear when you have the power to nourish faith. What you continually imagine, you prepare for. You build emotional muscle around it. You start making decisions from it. And soon, the outer world reflects what the inner world has long rehearsed. The imagination is not neutral. It is always working, either for you or against you. It is always bringing something closer. If you imagine failure, you empower it. If you imagine rejection, you invite it. But if you imagine favor, you prepare a seat for it. If you imagine miracles, you make space for them to land. So, dare to see the end even when the middle looks messy. Dare to live in the joy of what is coming, not someday, but now. Feel it in your bones, walk in it, let it color your mood, your choices, your tone. When you live in that state of having already received, the world cannot help but respond. You become the embodiment of your vision. You start to act, speak, and move as one who already has it, and this draws it closer. This is not pretending, this is creating. This is not delusion, it is devotion to a deeper truth. You are not lying to yourself when you imagine the good. You are aligning with the part of you that knows it is possible, that knows it already exists, just not yet in physical form. But everything that is visible was once invisible. Everything you can touch was once only imagined. The world around you is not as solid as it seems. It is malleable, flexible, obedient to the dominant images you carry within. So ask yourself, what vision am I feeding? What end am I choosing? Am I living in fear of what I don't have, or joy for what is coming? Choose to live in the joy. Choose to stay pregnant with possibility. Speak from the end, feel the outcome. Nourish your imagination daily as you would water a garden, because when you live from the end, the beginning will catch up. And what was once only a quiet vision in your mind will become the loud reality of your life. The greatest surprises in life are not reserved for those who wait with anxious eyes, hoping for a sign, watching for a miracle, or constantly seeking reassurance. The great surprise belongs to those who dare to walk in trust, unshaken by the circumstances around them, and who remain alive in belief, regardless of the world's fluctuating conditions. It is not the fearful who receive the blessing, but those who live with an unwavering faith, confident that what is promised will manifest in perfect timing. You see, faith is not a passive act. It is not about waiting for life to give you a reason to believe. It is about choosing to believe, regardless of the evidence. Faith does not demand proof, it creates proof. It does not look for confirmation from the world. It confirms the world through its unwavering stance. The fearful live by what they see, but the faithful live by what they know, deep in their spirit. They know that the invisible is more real than the visible, and they live as though the divine hand is always at work, even when the evidence is hidden from their eyes. Faith does not look for signs. It does not search for clues to tell you that everything is going to be okay. It does not require confirmation from the outside world to believe in the goodness of the universe. Rather, faith walks through life, even when there are no signs, trusting that the signs will show up when the time is right. Faith believes first and foremost in the divine order, in the invisible currents that guide the universe. It trusts that everything is working behind the scenes, even when the scene before you seems unclear. Faith says, I believe it is already mine, even when the world says it isn't here yet. And this is a key. Faith moves without needing proof. It is the step taken without seeing the next one. It is the trust placed in God's timing without needing to understand why it is taking longer than expected. The great surprise of life does not come to the person who is constantly checking the door to see if it will open, but to the one who walks away from that door in complete trust, knowing that if it is meant to open, it will, without them having to force it. Living with faith means living blind to the circumstances. It means believing in the promise before the manifestation. It means acting with confidence, not because everything looks favorable, but because you know that the favor of God is already in motion. It means walking with your head held high, not because there is an outward reason to do so, but because your inward knowing is stronger than any external condition. You are not moved by what you see. You are moved by what you believe. The fearful, on the other hand, wait for the world to show them signs, for the world to prove that things are changing, for confirmation before they can trust. They look for a reason to have faith, rather than creating faith from within. Their hearts are heavy with doubt, and their eyes are trained on the temporary. But the faithful are not moved by the temporary. They are moved by the eternal promises planted in their souls. They are not looking for circumstances to change before they believe. It is because they believe that circumstances change. This is why the surprise comes to the faithful, because they are the ones who are ready to receive it, even when the world says it's not possible. They walk as though what they desire is already on its way. They are not deterred by time, circumstance, or challenges, because they know that faith is the magnet that draws everything into alignment. The great surprise is reserved for the ones who have cultivated trust, who are not shaken by the winds of doubt or the waves of uncertainty. They believe, and because they believe, the universe conspires in their favor. So if you want to experience the great surprise, let go of your need for proof. Let go of the fear that tells you that you must see before you believe. Walk in blind trust. Live as though everything you've asked for is already on its way to you. Be alive in your belief, and watch as the universe opens doors and brings miracles in ways you could never have imagined. God does not surprise the fearful. The great surprise is for the faithful, those who walk in trust and are alive in their belief, no matter what the world says. In conclusion, the path to your desires, dreams, and divine surprises is paved with trust, faith, and imagination. As you walk in unwavering belief, blind to circumstances, you align yourself with the natural flow of the universe, and you invite blessings that are already yours to manifest in perfect timing. When you let go of the fear of what's missing and focus on the certainty of what's coming, the world cannot help but respond. The great surprises are not for the ones who search for signs, but for those who trust without evidence, knowing that the unseen world is more real than the world around them, that your imagination is the fertile ground where all possibilities are born. Walk with your heart full of trust and confidence, and you will witness the miracles that await you. Faith is not about waiting for proof. It is about trusting that what you desire has already been made manifest in the divine mind, and it will unfold in your life at the right moment. So keep walking in trust, hold your vision close, and know that your surprise is already on its way. Thank you for embracing this truth, and may your journey be filled with endless blessings, divine surprises, and the unwavering belief that all you have imagined is already on its way.